Good evening, everyone. So good to be back in Special Olympics Alberta peak program version 3, I believe. I was just going through the website, which is, by the way, awesome. And it all started off in the fall peak season. Then we worked through winter peak season. And now we're getting into the spring peak season. Like this is about the third time that I'm joining in your peak program. I'm enjoying it so much, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. And I know that there may be some people returning from these other seasons that these other climbs that we went through. And maybe you can put an emoticon or some kind of a thumbs up in the chat. One thumbs up. This is the first time. Welcome. This is going to be great. Maybe 2 thumbs up if you've been doing this like a couple of times now. And maybe also 3 thumbs up if you're coming back all the time. Hi Andres. Nice to see you here. Hi Rachel from Calgary. I'm close to Calgary. And so I'm not sure if you can let me know if this is your kind of first trek onto the peak, or maybe your second, or maybe your third. Use 1, 2, 3 thumbs up by letting me know this is my third time. Welcome back, Preston. Good job. April, 3 thumbs up. Cassie as well. Lori, 3 times. Do we have anyone that's on maybe the second go around, or maybe even the first? And let's welcome those that are here for the first peak, the trek to the peak. There's Kaylin. Welcome. I hope you're going to enjoy this program. I hope tonight with me and other nights with other people, and keep yourself really busy and connected. So let's get started. So I was going around the website a little bit to see what was going on, and obviously this is the new peak season, the spring peak season. So I've been with you in the fall. I remember that the days got shorter, darker. Winter was super dark. We were kind of, all by ourselves in our places. I'm still in my basement office. I wish that I could be among people. I guess you would wish for the same. And hopefully, not too long, that's going to be our reality, is that we can go back to training together, do activities together, meet together, and work not on Zoom but in person. How nice would that be? I'm so looking forward to that. But you know what's nice about this third time around? I am wearing shorts. I've been outside and not trying to get a sunburn. I'm wearing a light t-shirt. I really enjoy that we're getting into the spring of things and that we're getting into summertime. It's change of seasons, and why not try something new or refresh something. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to talk about starting that trek. And I saw on the website, this beautiful website with the pictures. The mountains are calling. If you haven't been on the website, there's a couple of pictures kind of rotating through, and it's really appealing. I want to go there. I want to climb a mountain. That would be tough, but yeah, it's this virtual event. It's just to do the right things, to be engaged, to stay active, to stay healthy, to work on your fitness, to work on your physical fitness, to work on your mental fitness, and just do a great job. So we're going to talk a little bit about making a trek up on the mountain. Now I know that some of you have signed up. Some of you have signed up for one of these mountains, and you could choose what you want, what your fitness goals you thought it was going to be. Climbing Mount Robson or the Matterhorn. That's the only mountain that I've seen on this list. I've actually seen the Matterhorn. It's pretty spectacular. Or maybe you're climbing the Kilimanjaro. I believe the Kilimanjaro is in Africa. And I don't know where the Denali is, where the Denali mountain is. maybe South Africa as well, but I don't know. Maybe someone can look it up and tell me where Denali is. I'm good, Ren. How are you? Or maybe some of you are really slugging it out and trying to get onto the top of Everest. So any way, any mountain you've chosen to climb, there's a strong commitment, a strong ambition, to get there. And you know what? You have 8 weeks to get there. That should give you a lot of time. A lot of time to work hard, maybe every day, but definitely every week. And if you, string week after week together, like 8 weeks in a row that the peak program is, I'm sure you're going to be able to get very, very far. So Lori thinks that the Denali is in India. I'm not sure, so maybe someone else can confirm that. So we'll see. Someone must know, and I don't have. I'm too busy right now. I can't go to Google and figure out where Denali is. Andreas, I will be. We will be ready before 8 p.m. Obviously, maybe 50 minutes early. Okay, so we're gonna prepare for. We're going to start on this trek. We're going to start going up this mountain. And today, first day one, it's kind of the first steps. So, but let's talk a little bit about what it takes to prepare for such a climb. Okay. Oh, someone says it is in Alaska. So now we know that Mount Denali is in Alaska. Thank you so much for letting us know. Great job, Abby, of figuring that out. So, when you go on a big trek, you need to prepare. So, when it comes to preparation for a big trek, what are you thinking of? Like I just mentioned Google. Like I would probably figure out where Mount Denali is if that's the one that I'm going to climb. Like I need to know where it is. I need to know how to get there. I need to know how high it is. I need to know how far it is. I need to know if there's a town nearby that I can maybe start from. I would want to. What else would I want to know? Maybe climate and weather. Like what can you expect? Well, probably mountains are quite unpredictable. It can be nice and sunny and bright, and it can also get nasty and windy and rainy and snowy pretty quick. So mountains are pretty unpredictable like that. So when you think about that, what do you need to prepare for? What do you need to pack? Like what's the equipment you need to use to kind of start hiking? Do you guys like hiking? I like hiking. I'm not a professional hiker or mountain climber at all. I just like pretty easy hikes or strolls up a hill or mountain where there's trails. I don't have any climbing equipment, so I have my boots. I probably would have a rain jacket, maybe a couple layers of clothing. What else would you take? Maybe a backpack, a backpack of some sort, so you can carry some of these things around as you're climbing. What would you put in your backpack? Yeah, Kaylin thinks maybe taking some winter gear. That may not be a bad plan because if it actually gets nasty or cold or rainy or snowy, you'd like to kind of protect from that. You also want to bring a light jacket for when it gets hot. Yeah, maybe you need to use those different layers. And so, a backpack, some equipment. What else do you kind of need to prepare for as you're starting your climb? Bear spray, yes. First aid equipment. I have a little first aid equipment in my backpack, yes, and I am carrying bear spray. Actually, the other day, Friday, I went for a small hike or a bike, and there was actually a mother bear with 2 cubs on the side of the road. So bear spray is not a bad plan to take. A water bottle, yes, you would need some water bottle and food, something that you've been putting in the chat. And it's making sure you can nourish yourself. Medicine, water, yes, a healthy snack. Yeah, you know what? I tend to take healthy snacks. Sometimes One of those like a granola bars maybe, but something I almost always take is carrots. I slice those big carrots up into chunks or pieces, and I put them in a Ziploc bag, and I take them along, and they're kind of nice to munch on. So that's my kind of favorite little snack. But some people like to bring some nuts, maybe a sandwich. You need something, or maybe some other things. So we're thinking about how to prepare for a trek. So, where is it? How do I get there? How high is it? How far is it? You're trying to kind of get a sense about what you can expect. Now, once you get back into competition and, in your own sport, whether it's snowshoeing or cross-country skiing or floor hockey, you want to prepare as well. You want to kind of try to figure out where do I need to go and where is it, and what can I expect there? What's the weather like? Maybe all those things. What do you pack in your bag to your competition? You probably would bring a set of shoes, maybe some fresh socks, a shirt, shorts. All the same thing. You need some nourishment. You need some healthy snacks, water. All of those things go in your bag. So the same thing. You're really thinking about how do I prepare. Compass may be handy when you go hiking, and definitely in an area that you may not don't know so much about. And that reminds me, if you're actually going onto a big mountain or going hiking in mountainous terrain, you probably want to bring a map too. You want to kind of see if you can keep track of where you go, where you've gone, where you go next, and then you can actually set your sights. You can actually set some goals. That's where I want to that's where I want to go. That's what I want to reach by today. So prepare for your trek, figuring out what you put in your bag, what kind of equipment you're going to take. Make sure you have some enough nourishments. And at the same time, you don't want to kind of think about forgetting to capture the moment. Now maybe make some. Do you bring a camera or maybe a phone and make some pictures about where you go or what you see? Walkie-talkies would be a smart idea. And that actually reminds me, some of you are maybe making this track on the peak by yourself. Maybe you've signed up by yourself, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to do all of that exercise by yourself to reach the peak of that particular mountain. But maybe some of you are also doing it in teams. Maybe some of you are doing it together. So then walkie-talkies really come in handy. And so walkie-talkies is a good a peak buff. I have one of those buffs. I got one of these peak buffs. Did you guys get those? This is a super handy tool or a super handy garment to bring along on a trek. So that's a good one. Someone mentioned that. But if you go as a team, walkie-talkies come in handy, but you also want to kind of maybe think about how you can help each other. How you can set the pace together. Not everyone has the same pace when you're walking up a mountain, but maybe sometimes for some sections you want to kind of go together because maybe it's safer, maybe it's more fun. Pictures are turning out nicer then, for sure. And you need some encouragement, Sometimes it gets a little hard. So here's a question. If you're doing this together, even on an online platform like this, how do you encourage each other? If someone is struggling a little bit or is falling behind a little bit, can't keep up the pace or has a little difficulty in doing all the exercise, throughout the week, what would you tell that teammate? What would you tell him or her? How would you be a great support? What would you say? I'm going to take a little pause and read your chat and take a sip of water. I'm getting thirsty here too. Hi Jordan, glad that you made it. Just jump right into it. You found a chat, you can communicate here, and that's what we're talking about. When you're trying to do something difficult, like climbing up a mountain, going on a big trek, going through a lot of effort and exercise throughout the week, how would you support each other? That's the question. What would you tell your teammate? Hang in there. You can do it. We got this. It's excellent. Wouldn't you like it to hear that when you're struggling a little bit? When you don't feel like it? When you're maybe falling behind a little bit, that someone else steps up and says, we got this. You can do this. Let's go. Really, 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 stimulate and motivate and keep it up. Don't give up. You're doing something great. That's all what it takes. So you're not in this by yourself. Although you are by yourself at home, we're in this together. We're doing this peak program all together. That's why we're meeting on Monday evenings and Tuesday evenings and workout Wednesdays. And so you have a sense that you're not doing this all by yourself, and you can actually find some motivation by from each other. Hi Carla, glad that you made it as well. So, and once you get going, once you are en route, you are kind of making your first steps. You know how it goes when you start going up a mountain. In the beginning, you're a little fresh. You're rested. You're just starting. It's the first day. So that's great. You go in there with full energy, full excitement, and great effort. And so that first day is maybe great. Second day, still good. But you know what? In the beginning, and that mountain is maybe not the steepest. You're still going a little bit through the valley floor, through the forest. You're kind of slowly making some gains in elevation. It's not the hardest. But maybe in day 2, the switchbacks start. It gets a little bit more steep uphill. And maybe if it's not day 2, what about week 2? Or if it's coming much later, like in week 4. But it's getting harder then. And so you want to find some goals to really work towards. What can I accomplish today? Now, how do you remind yourself? Now, obviously, there is the workout schedule. I also found online, and I'm just going to see the first bingo card. So all these things that you can do to complete your bingo and really do well. You don't have to do everything on the bingo card, today. You have a whole week to complete it. So why don't you do like 2 every day or 3 every day? And so you'll get it done. And that's how you kind of spread it up. You can't sprint up the mountain. It's too hard. You will get too tired. Maybe you trip. Maybe that's not the safest. You don't do it all at the same time. You're kind of pacing yourself a little bit. And the same with what you can do throughout the week. So if you look at that bingo card, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 by 5. Is that right? Yeah, 4 by 5. 20 activities in about 7 days. That makes about 2 or 3 of those activities a day. So that makes it very manageable suddenly, right? So you can go over that bingo card and kind of start figuring out, what am I going to do today? How am I going to use my week to get all the work done that's on there, and not necessarily be all done in one day and then you're sitting around for the rest of the week? No, that's not necessary. So I see that there is something new on the bingo card that I haven't figured out. Maybe I'll go there, and that's the YouTube. Maybe those are these videos that we're doing on Monday nights or the workout Wednesdays. That's I think what it is. But I'm gonna check it out. So I'm gonna look on some of those things. Okay, so again, it's a little bit of a reminding about how much you can do at any given on any given moment. We've just kicking it off. We're just starting off. You're just making your first steps. And remember, this peak program is 8 weeks long. So you want to kind of do the things well on Mondays, and then Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays, and then use the rest of the days. And that keeps you going for a lot. Now, I also made a note in one of the previous sessions. And, you know, when you're doing, and I'm sure you're pretty excited to work hard in this, you know, spring peak program. But I want to remind you that if you're working hard, you also want to rest hard. And so, besides all these activities, you know, that are on these different days, and the training that you do every day to actually get up that mountain, and you're working hard, you also want to make sure that you're resting hard. Because rest and recovery is super important, because then you can go again. Now, just imagine that you're trying to get up this big mountain. And that's something that you can't necessarily do in one day either. So, you're taking day one, and you're trying to set a goal, you're trying to get there. And by the end of the day, you need to kind of shut it down for a little bit. You have to rest. You have to put up your camp, put up your tent, make yourself comfortable, get some nourishment in. And so you can actually go again the next day. So it's about working hard and making sure those efforts pay off, and at the same time, make sure that you can actually recover. And then you can go again. So that's super important. So we've talked about many different things now. Really getting started here, getting ready to get it to make this big trek. And we talked about the importance of preparation. You got to kind of figure a few things out before you start. Like, where do I go? What do I need? How does it work? And that's the same with this peak program. The same with how you would prepare for a race or for a competition. You need to figure out which equipment to take, what you put in your bag, the type of nourishment you want to take, and at the same time, especially when you get up these mountains and you get these beautiful views, or you have these vantage points or these viewpoints, and you don't want to kind of remember or forget about how that is, you take a picture. So take a few pictures on the way. You don't have to do this every day, but if something special happens, then you can take a picture. I just noticed on the Facebook page a guy that got a vaccine, and while he was waiting, he was doing some wall sits. Well, that's a great way of actually doing some great activity as you're waiting in line. And someone took a picture and put it on the Facebook page. So that's what you can do. And if I go again to the beautiful website of the Peak program, there's also some real good information, you know. You want to use the hashtag Peak Polar Bear or Reach Your Peak AB. You can post updates on your progress, photos, videos of when you're exercising, what you're actually doing. The social media challenge that is happening every week. And what we talked about earlier, encouraging others. You know, giving the thumbs up, showing the heart, giving those great encouragements that your teammates are doing well. And so that's a great way to start. Now, let's talk a little bit further, and we're still kind of imagining kind of getting up this peak. And as I maybe mentioned earlier, some of those parts are a bit easier. Other parts are harder or more challenging. Is that what you can also expect in this peak program? Is that some of the activities that you've signed up to do are very doable? No problem. You'll just complete them, in a minute, and that's it. But maybe other exercises or activities are maybe more challenging, or maybe you don't like them as much. Now, a lot everyone knows how important a core workout is. You know, working your abs and your muscles in your back and make sure that that core is nice and stable and strong. It really helps with the whole body to move well, to be well, and so not to get into trouble. But you know, not many people typically like workouts. It's not the funnest part. But you know it's actually quite helpful. And my question there is, even if you don't like it as much, can you still do it? Can you still complete that challenge, that activity? Doing some abs or some twists and turns, whatever the uh, your training program says. And so the question is, yeah, it's maybe not my favorite, but can I still do it because it's part of of my program here? The same when you're getting up a mountain. It may not always be that easy. It may be steep. It may be scary. Maybe you have to kind of slow it down a little bit. But can you do it? Can you actually find a way? Can you overcome an obstacle? If a tree has fallen over the trail, wouldn't you simply climb over it or go under it if you can? Yeah, it's an obstacle on your way. But the obstacle is also there, you know, to overcome and to kind of move on. So the question is, can I climb over that tree? Can I get under it? Can I move on? So I'm having a little pause. I'm having another sip. Maybe you want to have another sip. Yeah, we can do it. So ask yourself the question. You know, even if you don't like so much, you know, the core exercises, or maybe, you know, so long on the treadmill or on the stationary bike, or go for a 5K run. You know, it's not always something that we always like, but can we actually do it? And can it be okay? Maybe you can. So you're actually facing a challenge. You're actually embracing a challenge, and you're actually finding a way to overcome the challenge. And maybe that's what you can expect as well through this peak program. Like, I wish that everything would be perfect, would be rosy, you know, would be nice. But you know what? I'm not sure if you know, but roses have some thorns once in a while. So although the rose itself is quite nice, you also want to make sure that you don't, you know, poke yourself on little thorns. So it's just being mindful about that there is going to be maybe some challenge coming up. And then you can help yourself, and you can help each other. So that's really, really important. And I am really excited to not only kick this new Spring Peak program off tonight on Maximize Monday, day one. I'll also come back a couple of times. Maybe sometime midway and maybe at the end. We're going to do some more work. I'm sure you're going to have also other speakers, and you're going to learn something more. Remember, this is the other thing that I had written down in my previous session. So some of you are doing this for the third time. Some of you are doing this for the second time. Some of you are doing this for the first time. But it doesn't matter. We can always work for our own personal best, for our own personal best performance. Something that you accomplish, something that you can be proud of, something that you can be happy about. And in that process, through the ups and the downs, through the easy parts and the challenges, and how you overcome those challenges, and what you learn on these types of evenings and nights and sessions, remember that it's not only about reaching the peak, which is maybe the first goal, because that's what you've signed up for, but remember what you can actually discover on your way up. We call it a journey. And we know with Olympics and Paralympics and Special Olympics, it's not only always about the result, it's also how you get there. So think about this as a great opportunity that this provides you like 8 weeks, so many sessions, so many activities, so many different fun and exciting types of things, that through that whole process you can learn more. Something new. You can always grow a little further. And even if you're kind of, I don't know so many of them, maybe only a few. If you're a big champion, you kind of got to figure out how you're going to be a champion again. It's not coming easy, so you got to work for it. And so, the next go around, it may be a little different. It may be more difficult, or it may be there may be something else going on. So you kind of need to kind of flex and adapt and work again. So you can definitely think back on all the lessons learned from the from previous treks, from when you reached the peak before. But and then put it in a way that you can actually use it this time. And at the same time, you can think about, okay, but what was difficult last time, and how would I deal with that this time around? Maybe there is another opportunity. Maybe you can do something different or better that is just, helping you out in the whole process. I'm getting thirsty. I'm just talking too much. I like it, Rachel. Just go and have fun and try your best. And when you do that, there's awesome things happening as a result. So that's a great mindset to have. Just go and have fun. Why not have fun? And then everything else becomes a little easier. And then, meanwhile, you're also trying hard. You're trying your best. That's awesome. So I'm gonna kind of pause a little bit. What's your best advice for new Peak members? Well, I know that when I started with Peak, and I still have it now, that I kind of need to figure out how it all works. So you're signing up, you're getting this plan, you're having all these activities, and then I think the best thing you can do is what I said probably earlier, is to kind of figure out what you can do throughout that whole week, and not necessarily needing to try everything right away. Just allow today and Wednesday and next week and 2 weeks from now just to come at you, and just be open and curious what it can show you. And some things you already know, but some things you may have not heard before, or they are new. So I always believe that an open mind, a curious mind, is the best mind to have. When you're curious, you want to kind of know how things work. So, but at the same time, you don't necessarily expect that everything is taken for granted, or you may not understand quite everything. That's fine. That means that you can ask questions, or you can actually maybe look something up. Hey Frank, how could learning and growing and moving on help us in any situation? Well, it's kind of that I call it the growth mindset, and it makes it basically compared to a fixed mindset. And a growth mindset is just looking at opportunities and looking at what can be instead of what cannot be. Do you see the difference? What can be is something that you probably would want to explore. What you can learn, what you can do, what could help you out, is that kind of openness to learning. It's that kind of open and growth mindset, and that means that you're not getting so much constrained in kind of thinking like, I don't know, I can't do this, I'm not sure what this is about. You're actually putting yourself in that position like that you want to find out. And if that's something that can work for you now in this peak program, that's a great opportunity. But it can also work for you in life. There's so much to explore. So, but we can't do it all at the same time. So I'm just going to see if there's maybe another question or two coming up. So Dustin is sharing with us that when he has a bad day, he picks up his guitar and starts playing music, and that is an awesome way of working with that. Playing music, listening to music is a great way of expressing yourself, of finding some tunes that soothe you or maybe activate you and energize you a little bit. So it is a great way of dealing with some frustrations or you don't feel so well, and you put it into the music, and you use your guitar or piano or any other type of instrument to kind of do that. Now, there's someone else that dances and plays music. That's great to hear. If I get stressed, I get fidget poppers. It helps with spinners. Yes, you can do different things. You can also relax a little bit, take a breath. We're going to probably work on that a little bit later, but that's a really great way of kind of easing the physical type of tension and stress that is coming over us, is to actually release it a little bit. Now you can release that in music, you can release that in journaling, you can release that in with some relaxation and breathing exercises. And that's probably the best thing to kind of work with as well. Now, Kalen says he goes for a walk. You know what? I go for a walk. I actually go for a walk quite often. For one, to get away from the screen when I'm on Zoom all the time. That's one reason. Second reason is I know that when I'm a little nervous or stressed, or I'm just thinking about something too much, then I go outside in my yard. I'll walk a couple of laps. I'll look at the trees. And you know what's kind of interesting with walking? It's not strenuous exercise. It's actually quite moderate exercise. So you're not really using your muscles. So your muscles don't need all the blood, but there's still a little bit of blood being circulated in your body and in your brain. So it often has that kind of quality that when you go for a walk, your mind kind of clears up a little bit. Just think about when you go for a walk and how you come back. Doesn't it feel a little bit different? So playing music, relaxation, breathing, going for a walk, all kinds of things, yoga and maybe other forms of dancing is really good to kind of work it out. So that's a great way to incorporate in your rest and recovery plan. I'm gonna bring back the page. There it is. I said you work hard and you want to rest hard. That exactly includes the playing music, the breathing relaxation, the kind of going for a walk if you can go around, and so that really helps the body relax and it helps the mind relax. So maybe this is something, I'm not sure if it's on the bingo card or not, I have to double check, but why don't you put a little bit more rest and recovery and relaxation on your plan as well. So I'm gonna see if there is I like what Jamie is saying. There are no limits to what you can accomplish except the limits you place in your own thinking. So if you see some truth in that, you may as well start thinking in a way that is more enjoyable, more helpful, more productive, maybe more realistic. And so that is a really good way of thinking. Well, anything we can think about over the next week. I'm going to suggest take what we've been talking about today, and this one you've already seen. I'm going to ask you to look at the other one that I prepared for tonight. And when you think about going into this week, and you're gonna, or into this peak program, and you're gonna start your tracking. You're starting on week 1, and so focus on week 1. Okay. How do I prepare for week 1? What information do I need for week 1? Where is the plan? Where is the bingo card? What do I need to do? So that's how you prepare. That's what you can think about. What do I need for equipment? Not for hiking up a real mountain. No, for exercising, for your nourishment, for um, um, the types of activities that you want to do to earn your points and stay healthy. How are you going to capture that? I said pictures, but it can also be a journal entry. Maybe you keep a journal. Maybe you write some things down, because that's also a really good practice. So that's what you can think about. Other than kind of, make it work hard and rest hard. So I'm going to give you a password. Here it comes. And don't look at the passwords that we've used in the past. It is Bluebird. Bluebird. Now, have you seen a bluebird recently? Maybe blue jay? Or maybe the mountain bluebird? I've seen one maybe a week ago or something. So Bluebird is the passcode for today. So make sure you write it down or you take a screenshot, because this is what you want to report back. And then maybe think a little bit about what you learned from tonight. What is something that sticks in your mind? What is something that you want to remember? 1, 2 things. What's your takeaway? Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Stay well.